Hi there, welcome to AI Python. Hope you are doing great and enjoying this video series in which you are learning to build a desktop app called Vaccine Availability Checker from scratch in Python using Tkinter library. This is the ninth video of this series, and in this video you will learn to create a radio button that will detect the pin code based on your current location upon the click. Isn't it sound a bit fascinating, right? Like detecting the pin code of your current location by just clicking on the radio button. Does this keyword remind you of a popular app that almost every smartphone users are using? Don't forget to write the name of that app in the comment box. I would like to see how close your guess is, or your guess is exactly the same. For your clarification, I'm not using any satellite services because I'm not so rich. Neither any paid services offered by tons of company out there in the industry. Instead, I'm using a free service. You can also use the same service, and it is based on the IP address. Or in more detail, you can say it is based on Internet Service Provider's info, which is given by the Internet Service Provider at free of cost. Don't worry, you will get to learn all of this in this single video. Let me first demonstrate the usage of radio button in the app to detect the current pin code as per your location. And by the way, if you are using this pin code at a location 1 or maybe in your area and try to use the same application out there, maybe somewhere else, your pin code will change. So we'll see the magic of using this app anywhere and it will pick up your global location. Like for example, it works globally and wherever you are, it will pick your local pin code. Amazing. By the end of this video, you will be able to create this application part, which is to detect the current location and once detected, paste that location here automatically. So this is the application that I'm trying to show, and in this video, we are learning how to create this radio button. And by clicking on this radio button, you will see the current pin code of my location is detected here. It can detect a pin code of any place in the world, and the underlying principle behind detection of this pin code is based on the internet service provider's IP info. So we'll understand each and everything in detail. So I wanted to demonstrate this application to you so that you can understand we are going to do this part. Obviously we have done this pin code and this one, right? You can manually enter also the pin code, but in case if you want to detect it automatically, you can use this button to detect the pin code automatically. All right. If you are learning something new from these videos, or if it is helping you to acquire a new skill, then I would urge you to please hit the like button, which will indicate that you are enjoying the content and it gives us the signal to produce such content more often. Pause for a moment and like this video. You can also browse all the previous video of this playlist from the link available in the I button displayed at the top right corner of this video right now, as well as I have also provided the link in the description. A fully functional and 100% working version of this software for Windows is also available for absolutely free at our website aipython.in. Download the software from the link available in the description. So let's get started to create the radio button and write logic behind it, which fetches the area pin code. So we'll be executing this program in two parts. First one will be creating a radio button itself, the physical button on the UI, and then creating two functions to fetch the data or basically the current pin code based on the location and feed it into text box which represents the pin code, right? Let's get started with creating a radio button, right? I've already shown a couple of last videos that how to create not radio button but at least checkboxes and other widgets. But this is also similar. Not much more emphasis on this one, but we'll run through once. We'll create a radio button, radio underscore location, one variable, right, which holds radio button object. And to create a radio button, we will use the keyword radio button all together with R capital. And then we define first argument of this method will be the app, which defines the parent or root window for this widget, right? And the text which will display in front of this widget, which is current location, right? And we can use text as a keyword argument to write current location. By default, it is empty. And then you can provide background color so that this will not appear as a separate object on this frame. So in order to match the frame background with the widget background, I'm using the same color. Then comes the variable. This variable basically responsible for communicating the message to and from radio button, right? And for this reason, we have created this variable current underscore location underscore variable, right? Equal to string var. So this radio button supports string var, and string var is basically it holds a string variable for the communication using radio button. And this is used across multiple other widget in Tkinter. Okay, so the second thing would be the value. A value would be exactly the same which we will be using. So let's say radio button, either it will be on or off. So accordingly, that current location will be used, current value will be used. And then the command, which is right now we have not defined, I mean, we already have defined, but for the purpose of understanding it, let's say we have not defined this command, but we have kept some name of the command in the mind that we are writing here, fill underscore pin code underscore with underscore radio. So this command will be triggered once user click on the radio button. We will define this function later. Once we have done this, that means our radio button is created. By using this line, we have created our radio button. Now we need to place this radio button somewhere. During the demonstration of the app, you have seen that we have placed the radio button just below the pin code location, right? We have found out the x and y coordinate for that point and used it. X equal to 215 and y equal to 65 is the perfect location, which I found after all the adjustment that this is going to be the suitable place to hold the radio button at this particular position, right? So by using all these three line of code, we have created radio button and placed it on that UI. Okay, that's it. Great. So I have created it. Now this will not work in any way. If you click on the radio button, nothing will happen. Why? Because this function has not been defined. Now we are going to define this function. Okay. So in order to understand this background, how actually we are fetching the current location, it all depends on this particular master mind of this part of the application, which is the ipinfo.io. If you go to the browser and write ipinfo, already I have written ipinfo.io. This is basically a service where you can get the current location of your internet connection, right? You get the current location here. You could get a lot of attributes, lot of parameters in JSON format, right? Let's say if you write slash postal, you will see the current pin code. And this is the exact method that I'm using to fetch the current pin code. I have tried with multiple location in my city and outside my city, and it is giving me the correct data, luckily. Yes, it will also work for you. In case if you wanted to see the maybe country, if you want to write the country here, you can write it here and you'll see IN, the country code basically display. If you wanted to know if you want to provide the city, I can provide city and you'll get the data, which is Ranchi. And this will work fine for you also, and you can get a lot of information. For example, if you want to get the IP address, my current network, then you can get the IP address of your location or exactly your IP address, right? So this is how using this ipinfo.io free services provided by this website extract these information. That's the best thing that we can do, right? So we will store this IP address under the name of URL, right? And we are creating two functions. This first function, get pin code underscore IP underscore service. This will take the URL. It will return the current postal, that is zip code, right? And in the second function, it will use this zip code to set the pin code field, right? Although we can use a single function to do all these tasks, this is better. This gives a modular structure to your program, and it will also help while debugging the code. I know this is not so much of complicated, but if you make a practice or make a habit of writing code in this fashion, this is going to help you definitely. Okay, so we are using request module, and in case if you're not aware of the request module, do check out my videos, and the link for the same is available in the description as well as in the top right corner of this video right now. In order to install this request module, how you can use the request module, right? So it is basically used to send an HTTP request to some server, right? In this case, I'm sending a request to this URL, and in turn, I'm getting something in this form, which I'm basically converting into in text and so returning it here. So when we execute this function here in this inside this function, it will give us a value which is the pin code, and I'll be using this pin code to set into the pin code text field, right? So the first function will fetch me the pin code, and second function will set the pin code into the radio button. And this is the exactly the second function that I'm calling here, because when I call this second function, it in turn automatically calls this first function, right? And it will get the data, and it will set the value into the corresponding area. So this is all the small tweak and logic you can say that I have used to fetch the current location of any place, right? So let's say you're sitting in one of the city in India, let's say Bangalore. You'll try to use this application, you will get a different pin code. And in other case, if you're sitting in Delhi and you try to use this application, you will see your nearby pin code, which is relatively to Delhi, right? That's it for this video. I hope you have learned something new in this video. Please help us by sharing this video in your network. We read each comment and reply them. In case if you have any doubt related to this video, then do write them in the comment section. We will reply. See you next time with another exciting and informative content. I'll be preparing the next video for you. Till then, keep learning and keep growing.